Good morning, everybody, and a happy Wednesday morning to you. This is a really long video, and I have brought all my receipts, and you're going to want to make sure you get all the way to the end because we have solved the Lion King mystery. I brought the video proof. I've got everything for you. So let's just jump in and cover it all. We also have the visa stuff. So let's just get in, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start with King Charles, who sent a lovely message to Michael Higgins, the President of Ireland, for his St. Patrick's Day. And also, King Charles is coming up with some perfume. He's collaborating with this company that has held a royal warrant since 1903. How wonderful is that? You smell like a royal. Ooh, love it. Let's move on now to Catherine. She is returning to public life very slowly, but I love it. And of course, it was St. Patrick's Day. So she was headed to the Irish Guards for their St. Patrick's Day parade at the Wellington Barracks. And the first thing you saw were all the veterans that were lined up as these people paraded by. So these were the Irish Guards that were performing their ceremonial duties as Catherine returned to her sixth royal engagement so far this year. Now, I have said it before, and I'm going to say it again, nobody, and I mean nobody in the world, does pomp and circumstance like the Brits. I'm sorry, nobody is as good as they are. They were on their way to the Horse Guards parade, where Catherine, the Princess of Wales, who was Colonel of the Irish Guards, was waiting to attend the annual St. Patrick's parade at the Wellington Barracks. Now, the man in the middle in uniform was Lieutenant Colonel Tom White, Catherine's private secretary and the former equerry to Queen Elizabeth. Now, for those of you who don't know, Catherine was named the Colonel of the Irish Guards in 2022, taking over from William. So this is the first year that she has attended by herself. She and William both attended in 2023, but they both gave speeches. William was the outgoing and Princess Catherine was the ingoing. So this is the first time she's done it by herself. At this parade, Catherine met with veterans, families, serving soldiers, reservists, and young cadets from Northern Ireland. So it's the tradition that what she does is she presents shamrocks to the Irish Guards. It's pretty cool. I don't know how long this has been going on for, but apparently for quite some time. For myself, I thought the cutest and nicest part of the whole thing was when they brought the Irish mascot, Turlough Moore, I believe is how you say it. They brought him up and she gave that dog a shamrock as well, and also a lot of pets and cuddles and snuggles, which is exactly what I would have done. This particular animal, by the way, is also known by the name of Seamus. He is an Irish wolfhound. And the Irish Guards, just as an FYI, have been around for 125 years. Now, just another little FYI piece of information. If you look at Catherine's left shoulder, you see the brooch that she's wearing. Very interesting. This was designed by Cartier, and it's loaned to members of the royal family by the Irish Guards in celebration of St. Patrick's Day. It was previously worn by the Queen Mother and Princess Anne, and this is the first time that Catherine has worn this particular brooch in an official capacity. Of course, they sat down for the official photos. I don't care what angle you take a picture of her at. She looks gorgeous in every photo. Also, by the way, she got the 3 cheers, from the people while she was standing on the dais there. Now, after that, or I should say before that, she went and awarded long service and good conduct medals to specific soldiers that were in the Irish Guards. I believe that took place, like I said, before the parade. And it was after the parade that she went to meet several veterans of the Irish Guards before she went and got acquainted with some junior cadets that belonged to the Mini Mix in Northern Ireland. No, it was also at this time that they proposed another cheer to her, and then she started drinking her Guinness. She had a pint of Guinness. She basically nursed this thing the whole time, though. I don't think she's a big drinker, because she basically, if you see her in every picture where she's holding this thing, the amount of the beer never really went down. Now, I did find it interesting that she was talking. I don't know if she was getting tired or she said something, but at some point they actually offered her a seat to sit down, and she was like, "Yes, please." I mean, she was, I don't know, maybe she was just tired, and he pulled out a chair and down she went. And with that, the visit sort of, finished. Now, A couple of other things I just want to point out really quickly. First of all, as usual, she gravitated towards the children. Number two, I couldn't help but notice her hair. Obviously, somebody does it for her. I don't think she does that herself, but look at that. It's like a work of art. All right, now we're going to keep with Catherine and William. You guys remember they were at the Wales versus England match not that long ago. We saw them up in the stands. Well, after the match was over, apparently they came out onto the field because they wanted to look at the packaging that's coated in that protective substance that's extracted from seaweed by the Earthshot company that was the winner that one year, Notpla. And of course, this all took place at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff. Remember also, this took place on March 15th. This one particular winner from Earthshot Prize, I mean, I know he's interested in all of them, but this particular one, William seems to be just very proud of, which I think he should be. For those of you who may not remember, Princess Catherine is the patron of one, team and William the other. And Catherine, after the game that night, went to the England rugby players' dressing room to, see them. Remember, they were the losing team. Those particular players don't look very unhappy right now in that picture. So while she was there, William went to visit the Wales rugby team to congratulate them on their win. That team looks pretty happy too. All right, let's move on now to Princess Anne, who the very next day arrived by the Eurostar to watch France take on Scotland in the Six Nations on Saturday. She arrived wearing the blue and green tartan scarf. So I think everybody knew where her allegiance lied for these teams. You guys know I love Princess Anne's no-nonsense style, and I love these sports glasses that we see her wearing all the time. She just looks so cool in them. All right, let's move on. Let's move on now to the Duchess of Gloucester. She is the patron of the Girls' Day School Trust, and she visited Croydon High School, which is a Girls' Day Trust school in Croydon on March 7th. You guys know I like her and I feel like she's underrated. FYI, her mother-in-law, Princess Alice, the Duchess of Gloucester, was the previous patron of the same school. Let's move on. All right, let's move on to Harry and Meghan. Now, as I am taping this, it is Tuesday, so we were waiting for Harry's visa information to be released because Judge Carl Nichols mandated the release of the files as part of a Freedom of Information request from the Heritage Foundation, and they were told that they must be made public by Tuesday. This has been a long time coming. Now, according to the court documents dated March 15th, Judge Nichols directed the Department of Homeland Security to release redacted versions of the documents by Tuesday. So we've been waiting for this thing to be released. The question is, when it's released, how redacted is the information going to be? And once they redact everything, are we going to hear what's actually going on with this visa? Of course, Trump said that no matter what, he wasn't going to deport him, but I don't think he can do that because you're setting a precedent if he lied. You know what I mean? So finally, at like 4:30 in the afternoon, they released the visa information, and it was exactly what everybody thought. It was so heavily redacted, you could get nothing from it. But keep in mind that the only thing that the Heritage Group was asking for was the check mark of Harry, yes, I use drugs, or no, I don't. That was it. Now, they released nothing of the application, only this redacted stuff, and it doesn't say the one thing we wanted to know, how did he check the box? So this is not going to be over by any stretch of the imagination. I assure you the Heritage Group is going to continue. To be fair, I'm beginning to wonder if Harry even filled out an application, because remember when immigration was asked for that information, they said they needed extra time to find it. So I'm beginning to wonder if he even filled it out, which is why nobody can seem to see this application. All right, I don't know why this is coming back up after all these years, but I find it very interesting. Okay, so first of all, Meghan had Archie, allegedly, and she was on maternity leave, and she was not supposed to be at Trooping the Color. However, she suddenly showed up, and she's sitting in this carriage talking at Catherine. I don't think there was any real conversation going on. But anyway, she's in there. We know that this is when she was giving Catherine the evil eye. She didn't want to be left out of the events. But they were getting booed. Watch this. understand that Meghan knew what the protocol was. There's no way that she had not been told that during the anthem you must face forward. Now, apparently there were some lip readers. Meghan turned around and said something to Harry, and Harry said something like, "Yeah, that's right." So she turns back around, and then she turns around again during the anthem, and that's when Harry said, "Turn around." She knew that during the national anthem, you stand, look how everybody else is standing, straight up, facing forward. And so Meghan, was supposed to do the same thing. She knew what the protocol was. And maybe also Harry was tired because they had a new baby. And even though I think they fired like 3 night nurses, there was a flyby, all this stuff was going on. All she had to do was face forward long enough for the national anthem. But of course, no, she couldn't do that. So anyway, don't forget that in there, I think it was Harry and Meghan, the love story, they put a spin on it that Harry was a mean, horrible person. And poor Meghan, he snapped at her. Here's the clip from that. I want you to look at the words at the bottom, because if anything, this shows that, she knew she was supposed to face forward. And he's like, would you just follow protocol? But they made it seem like she was, poor Meghan, horrible Harry. He snapped at her and she had to stand there and fake a smile while she held back her tears because she was so hurt. She'd lost her wingman. He was supposed to be her love, her rock, her supporter. And instead, she had to fake it on the balcony. You guys get where I'm going? Really? All right, next up really quickly, Prince Harry is now available to be purchased to give speeches, although his fee has dropped considerably. What really caught me was what they wrote about him. They even talked about the Netflix and the Spotify deal, not talking at all about what failures they were. It's all, oh, he's wonderful. He's supporting veterans. He's a champion. He went to Eton, military career, blah, 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 blah. But considering what he used to get paid for speeches, I think this just shows for me how much his currency has dropped. Feel free to stop and read this on your own. Moving on. All right, next up, I just wanted to touch on this article because basically what it's saying is the royal family has cut Harry and Meghan off. They're not communicating with them. You really can't blame them, can you? Every time they have any information, they sell it to the highest bidder. I completely understand why they did it, and I applaud that decision. All right, really quickly, this article also very interesting because it basically confirms what we already knew. Meghan is the reason why Harry has no friends. We all knew if Meghan didn't like you, you were out. The only person who doesn't seem to see that is Harry. All right, let's move on now to Mindy Kaling. She has a show on Netflix, in case you guys don't know. It is a complete success. Mindy Kaling posted on Instagram on Thursday. Her comedy show Running Point is the most streamed show of the week. More than 1.9 billion minutes watched. She said absolutely nothing about being on Meghan's Netflix show. Remember, on the Netflix show, Meghan was putting together a cucumber sandwich, and it was Meghan who then started lecturing Mindy Kaling about what her last name should be. It's not good. It wasn't good. Reminds me a lot of the Beckhams. This is somebody who really could have helped her, and instead she crapped on her. I don't think they're friends. I know that Mindy Kaling said that she'd only ever met her twice in person, so I can see why she might get rid of Meghan. I would. Unfortunately for Meghan, her Netflix show didn't do so well. Now, keep in mind that there really is no second season. Like with a lot of the Netflix shows, they already taped it. It's in the bag at the same time as the first one. But it's really kind of smart what they did, because this is allowing Netflix to do edits to the show based on feedback from the press and the Netflix viewers. So supposedly it's very cost effective. And on top of all that, in order to try to get some money out of this whole mess, Netflix has invested, apparently it's being reported, they have a financial interest in Meghan's lifestyle company, so they'll make money when people buy the jams and the flowers or whatever. Because remember, they spent a lot of money. They hired a location, they rented the mansion, they filmed enough material for 2 seasons at the same time, so it was, done and dusted. And they always do that, but they have put so much money into it, they're not going to air it. They're not going to not air it, you know what I'm saying? Now, in the meantime, people are basically just telling Meghan, don't waste your time. But again, they're going to air the show because it's already filmed. And we already heard rumors that they were going to edit in Harry and Meghan's philanthropic work during the fires. I think that would be a huge mistake by Netflix. And this picture just came out. Her leg is missing. She's smiling at the ground. It's just weird. Now, it's also being reported, said that Netflix is going to keep Harry and Meghan so that they get first dibs at the divorce deal. I'm sorry, they are not going to keep a contract going with these two in the hopes they might divorce so they get first dibs. It'll be a book anyway, not a Netflix show. And as long as Netflix has them, they pay them several million a year for production costs. And I think that they've given Harry and Meghan enough money, and they certainly haven't got their money's worth. Now, Netflix, in an attempt to try to salvage Meghan's reputation, because let's face it, that's really the problem with everything she does, it's her reputation. They had several crew members from this show speak to, of all people, People magazine, Harry and Meghan's go-to magazine that always gush over them. And the people that went to People magazine gushed over working with Meghan, saying she was so friendly and approachable, and she created a chill environment and gifted pans with the personally monogrammed spoon with her handwriting that says, "Thank you, crew." Common sense tells you she's not going to bully the staff from Netflix who she needs. It doesn't eradicate the fact that for years she's been accused of being a bully. She was called a dictator in high heels. She's reduced grown men to tears. She's been accused of bullying on both sides of the pond. So for the Netflix crew to say, well, she didn't bully us, doesn't mean a whole lot of anything. And I might also add her gift to the crew just shows how narcissistic she is, in my opinion. Now, I'm going to look at this really quick. For some reason, this is back in the news again. Remember, Harry and Meghan had their choice of going to a Lion King premiere or going to a memorial for some Marines who were killed in an IRA bombing at the Royal Marine Base in Kent. And Harry and Meghan decided to go to the Lion King premiere instead. And there was the head of Disney. And so they walk up and they speak to the head of Disney, and then Meghan walks on to greet Beyonce and her husband. Please remember that Harry was Captain General of the Royal Marines at that time, and it was kind of important that he goes. So he immediately starts talking to this guy as soon as he gets past. And you can see the words at the bottom. You know that she does voiceovers, right? And he goes, no, I really didn't know that. Oh, yeah, she's really interested in it. So he was basically begging for work for Meghan while at the Lion King premiere. That's exactly why they went. Now, the head of Disney's wife, as you can see, was most unimpressed with this exchange, thinking it was very inappropriate, which it was. Now, as they moved on to the director of the show, next time anybody needs any voiceover work, we can make ourselves available. Meghan goes, well, that's really why we're here. We're here to pitch. Well, actually, you were there to pitch. Everybody knew what you were doing. But what really got me was the wife of Bob Iger, because she was absolutely stunned and shocked that Harry came to this event and then sat there and begged for work. He's now explaining to her what happened. Watch the wife's face. Watch what happens. She's just like, look at her. She's like, yeah, okay. So he wants to get his wife some work. She just did not look impressed at all by the entire thing. Now, something else happened at that event. Remember, Meghan met the cast, and the only cast member from South Africa was this guy. So here's how I think her brain works. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, I believe that's Pharrell Williams, and you see what he's saying to her. Your union is so beautiful. It's so wonderful. We're so excited. And one of the first things that Meghan says is, they don't make it easy. So she was already playing victim. Right after Archie was born, she was playing victim to Pharrell Williams. But I think she took this conversation and pinned it on the guy to the left, which is why she said they were celebrating in the streets, like when Nelson Mandela was freed. See how she twists the whole thing in her head? That's what I think actually happened at this particular event. So I think she was talking to Will Ferrell, and she twisted what he said in her head and placed it on this guy in the blue jacket. Now, finally, just going to finish with this. Let's not forget about Meghan wants to be called Sussex. And what they're saying is what I said. She wants to be called Sussex because their hold with the royal family is tenuous at best. And she wants to make sure everybody sees her as royal. Oh, yes, I want your comments on this one, so make them good. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, my Amazon wish list, a link to my father's book, and a physical address. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.